Hello everyone, a very good morning to all of you. Welcome to Tathastu ICS. I am Pooja Sharma, your current affairs and history faculty here. So, good morning everyone who are online, Bhushan, Dipti, Dheeraj and everyone. Okay, this is the QR code for the Telegram group from where you can access the PDF files of this DNA session. Good morning Vikas. Vikas, yesterday I asked the question which you wanted to ask me, so you could just type in your comment comment section as well, okay, if sometimes I miss a question, right? Now this is the front page of our Hindu newspaper today. Today is 18th of February 2025. Both news which are on our front page are important today. So the first news is related to the Places of Worship Act. Now we are going to understand what this act is in general and what is the case and why the Supreme Court is now talking about this case, right? Other than that, we have new Chief Election Commissioner, Gyanesh Kumar. Obviously UPSC don't ask the questions of the new Chief Election Commissioner, but you can use it in other examination. But what is important here? Importance here is that how the selection process happen when it comes to the selection of Chief Election Commissioner. So we are going to understand that who were the part of the panel and how the Chief Election Commissioner was selected at the last. Okay, so let's see which important news which we are covering today. Yeah, these are the new courses which are starting at Tathastu ICS. So you can go through the detail and you can comment in the comment section as well, so that our team can give you the description of these new courses. Now these are the important news which we are going to cover today. So let's understand these news first. Now first is again the same news which was on our front page, that Gyanesh Kumar was named Chief Election Commissioner after panel meeting. What is our concern here from UPSC's point of view? What is this panel? Who are the members of this panel and how the Chief Election Commissioner is being selected? So we are going to understand that who does the appointment. Obviously President does on the basis of a panel which consists of 3 people. We are going to discuss that in detail. The second article is related to the Places of Worship Act. Now the Supreme Court, this is actually saying by Supreme Court, the Places of Worship Act case put off. Put off means now there is the hearing is adjourned and it is going to resume in April, okay, in the first week of April. It is so because the center had not filed their responses. There are so many petitions when it comes to this particular Places of Worship Act, but the Supreme Court right now is saying that because we did not get any response from the center is also delaying the response in this particular act. So Supreme Court of India is also not able to give the final judgment. So this is the news. Now the third is the Kerala government plans to grant industry status to its tourism sector. We all know that Kerala is one of the favorite destination of not only Indian tourists but the foreign tourists as well, right? And the economy, almost 20% of economy of Kerala is based on the tourism. Now what Kerala is planning to do, because of the COVID and there were so many other things, Wayanad landslide, the tourism of the Kerala went down. Now the government is planning to revive the tourism in Kerala. For that they have given the industry status to Kerala. Now from UPSC's point of view, we are going to understand that what kind of benefit the tourism sector is going to get the moment it gets the industry status, right? Next news is related to one of your news on your editorial text and context page. So what is the Aravali Safari Park project? Actually Haryana government is starting a safari project. It is going to create an infrastructure on Aravalis, on the fragments of Aravalis in Gurgaon and the Nuh district of Haryana. Now the environmentalists are obviously opposing this particular idea. They are saying that this can create environmental issues. So we are going to understand what this project is, what are the environmental issue concern related to it. Along with that we are going to understand what can be the possible outcome, what can be the solution is that, because the project is already in the review process. So there is highly likely that project is going to get processed, but environmentalists have their own concern. So what concerns are there? So we are going to understand everything. Next news is related to, it is actually this particular news is an interview, okay, interview of the foreign affairs advisor of Bangladesh. Actually we all know that as Jaishankar met him when they were in Muscat. Okay, yesterday we talked about the Indian Ocean Conference. So they met together, and there Suhasini Heather, one of the journalists at The Hindu, she took the interview of the foreign affairs advisor of Bangladesh. So we can get the insight what Bangladesh government right now, what kind of government is going to deal with our government. So we will have an insight into that, because there was no meeting between the leaders of India and Bangladesh. In this such kind of meetings only we are going to know about what is the perception of the Bangladeshi government right now about India, and how we are going to change the things diplomatically, because since the 5th August revolution in Bangladesh, the relation between India and Bangladesh deteriorated with time. So let's understand these news one by one. Okay, now again the first is the Gyanesh Kumar named the Chief Election Commissioner after panel meeting. So first we are going to understand that what is the context here. Okay, again name you can remember, because he is the now the Chief Election Commissioner of our country. So it is a very important post. Now actually he was selected after a meeting of a 3-member committee which was headed by Prime Minister of India. While the Prime Minister heads the selection panel, so but who all are the member of the selection panel? The first is the Prime Minister, the second is the leader of opposition, right? Leader of opposition party. So leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, who is the leader of opposition? So Rahul Gandhi was there in the panel, and on the third member should be a member, okay, should be a member of Lok Sabha. Now we have the Home Minister Amit Shah, okay. So Home Minister, one of the minister, any other minister could also be there. It's not necessarily Home Minister has to be there, but in this case the Home Minister was the part of this panel. Earlier Chief Justice of India used to be the part of panel. Earlier Chief Justice of India used to be the part of panel, but with the recent amendments now CJI is no more the part of the panel who decide who will become the Chief Election Commissioner. Now it is totally based on the executive or legislative part of our country. So judiciary has no involvement in selection of Chief Election Commissioner in our country right now. So let's understand what is the post of Chief Election Commissioner, what is the constitutional provision related to that. First of all, this article you need to remember, Article 324 actually deals with the Election Commission in general. So Article 324 is going to tell us about the Chief Election Commissioner. So in Election Commission there has to be a Chief Election Commissioner first of all, and the other Election Commissioner as the President may decide. Okay, first of all there has to be more than one Election Commissioner. So Chief Election Commissioner has to be there. Second, who appoints the Chief Election Commissioner? The President of India appoints the Chief Election Commissioner, but he is not going to appoint by his own will. We all know that President of India in our country works on the will, okay, not only the will, the aid and advice, though it is a will only, aid and advice of the Council of Ministers, right? But here President of India is going to appoint a Chief Election Commissioner based on a appointment panel, okay. So what is the appointment panel? As per the Act of 2023, as per the amendment of the Election Commissioner Act of 2023, it is appointed by the President, obviously based on the recommendation of a selection committee. Now our concern is, what is the selection committee? So selection committee has to be first of all Prime Minister, and Prime Minister has to head the selection committee. So he is going to be the chairperson. Second, the leader of opposition of Lok Sabha, okay, or the leader of the largest opposition party. Other than that, a union cabinet minister. This time we included Home Minister Amit Shah, but any union cabinet minister nominated by the Prime Minister can be the part of this selection committee. So this is very important for your exam point of view, this selection committee, because we have new election commissioner. There is highly likely that this year UPSC can ask you question based on the election commission in general. Before that also, because elections also happened in 2024, so elections in general is very important topic. So please read the election chapter, election commission chapter, election commissioner everything related to election this time. Very, very important. Now, what is the term? Term of a Chief Election Commissioner is 6 years term until the 65 year of age, whichever is earlier. If the 6-year term is going to be earlier, then it is. If he is of 65 years of age, he cannot serve after 65 years. Other than that, Chief Election Commissioner cannot be removed except through a process similar to the impeachment of the Supreme Court judge. Okay, so it is a very difficult process. It is not very easy. You are going to. What is the meaning of cabinet minister? Cabinet minister, which are the part of the cabinet, which actually consist of the these ministries, for example, Home Minister, Defense Minister, Foreign Minister. So these consist of few people consist of the cabinet. Okay, Council of Minister is the larger concept than the cabinet. So you can see that this is your parliament, right? This is your parliament. In the parliament, we have a prime minister. Then we have so many council of minister. Now, council of minister. Just give me a second. This is your parliament, this is your council of minister headed by prime minister. Now, cabinet is smaller than the council of minister. Okay? So, cabinet consists of very few of the ministers, only the important ministers, right? So, I hope you understood the Chief Election Commissioner. So, these are the basic facts or information you need to know about the Chief Election Commissioner. Now, let's come to our second news, which is related to the Places of Worship Act 1991. So, now what is the context here? Context is central government hasn't responded over 4 years. Okay, from last 4 years, central government hasn't given any response to this particular issue, which is the Places of Worship Act. What is the issue here? Issue is that there are so many petitions against it. There are so many petitions against it. The people are opposing the Places of Worship Act 1991. Now, the Supreme Court of India has to give answer to those petitions, but Supreme Court of India has asked the center or the government for the answer that what it should do, because it is an act. It was made by the central government. It is made by the parliament. Other than that, it is a very sensitive issue. Judiciary by itself cannot take decision on it. So, because of the sensitivity of the issue, there has to be a consultation between the government and the judiciary on this particular matter. But right now, judiciary is saying that because center is not replying or responding to this from last 4 years, so that's why they are actually delaying the final judgment, because they cannot do more than that. Since October 2022, Supreme Court has given the government multiple chances to respond, but it keeps asking for a more time to file a detailed reply. It means the center is asking more time for reply. Now, because we have new Chief Justice Sanjeev Khanna and his team is worried about the growing number of petitions, okay, because there are so many petitions related to this Places of Worship Act. They have now postponed the hearing to April 1st, 2025. The last hearing was I think it was on 16th of February. It was on 16th February, but now they postponed the next hearing to April, okay, 1st April. Now again between this time only there will be so many other petitions, so that's why the court is worried about that. The case raises big questions such as religious freedom, other than that historical disputes and whether the law follows the Constitution of India or not. So it is as per the secularism of our country, or it is not. So there are so many constitutional questions which are going to be the part if Supreme Court of India is going to answer these petitions. So let's understand this act in detail. So what this act is actually. So what is this Places of Worship Act? We all know that there was a dispute over Ram Janam Bhoomi and the Babri Masjid case. Okay, so there was a huge dispute. The dispute actually was there since decades, and then finally the Supreme Court judgment was kind of a balanced also, but basically in favor of the Ram Janam Bhoomi. So given the similar situation, so that the same kind of situation, same kind of animosity between the community should not occur in future, so the government has come up with this Places of Worship Act 1991. So according to this Places of Worship Act, it was enacted to maintain the religious character of a place of worship as it existed on 15th August 1947. We all know that we got independence on 15 August 1947. Now, as per the provision, if the status of a religious place is mosque on 15th August 1947, then it will remain a mosque only. You cannot change the character of the religious building. The same goes with the church, the same goes with the stupas, same goes with the temples, right? So everything will be same as per the status on 15 August 1947. Why these provisions were there? These provisions were there, for example, right now there is a mosque somewhere. Now there is one community who is going to say that no, once upon a time on this mosque there was a temple, then they will fight over it. This same thing can happen to the other places of worship also. It can happen to a church also, it can happen to a stupa also, it can happen to a temple also, that no, it was not a Hindu temple, before that it was a Jain temple. So such kind of animosity based on the places of these worship can act in the community. So that is less important. What is more important for the country, especially the country like India, which is a very diverse country, the harmony between the people, that is more important, because if there is no harmony, if there is a chaos in the society, it is going to harm us in a multiple fold way. So that the such kind of issue which happened during the Ram Janambhoomi or Babri Masjid case, to avoid such kind of situation, Government of India has come up this particular act. Okay, but now this act, that status of a religious building will remain as it is, as it was on 15th August 1947. It means there is a very less chance to change the history, because in history, if 1500 some place of worship was changed for some reason, now no one can argue on that at this place there was some other religious place, because we all know that this is a land, okay, and change is the only constant. If there is a temple at some place, after that there was a mosque, then there will be some other religious building, and there will be some other religious building. It is just the character of the history, okay, it is not the fault of the people, it is the character of the history. Okay, so this is the history. History changes. Whoever was the ruler in a particular area, that ruler actually suppressed the population. If the ruler was not good, if the ruler were great, then they actually facilitated the religious places of the other communities also, which were not their religion. So this was the character of the history, this was the character of the rulers which we had in our country. We had the kings like Ashoka, who actually gave patronage to Ajivika also, who gave patronage to Buddhism also. Satvahana also gave patronage to Hinduism as well and the Buddhism as well. So this is the character of our country, but right now this act is being challenged in Supreme Court of India. Now it is again a big question. This question is about the constitution also, constitutional validity also, question is about the secularism also, question is about the historical wrongs also. Should we change the historical wrongs right now? Okay, should we change the things which happened 500 or 1000 years before we were from this particular time period? So this is actually the places of worship. Now what is the ongoing case? So let's understand that as well. So petitions has been filed in Supreme Court of India challenging the validity of the act. Now there is a section which is saying that now act is not valid at all. They are actually saying that it violates the fundamental right under 40, that is the equality, freedom of religion article 25, religious affair article 26. What are the key arguments who are actually challenging this particular act? They are saying that this act denies the judicial review of the historical religious dispute. There are so many religious places on which the dispute is there, okay, right now. So according to these people who have put petitions in the Supreme Court, they are saying that now you are denying us the judicial review because you have put a ban to change the character of a religious building, which from 1991. Now it restricts the Hindus, Jain, Buddhist and Sikhs from reclaiming what they allegedly converted in the past, right? So because there were not only the temples of Hindu, there were Jain temples also, there was Buddhist monasteries as well, which their character were also changed in the past. But again, we need to look everything from a historical point of view, not from a communal point of view. What is the opposing view? Opposing view is that This act actually upholds the secularism in our country, first of all, by preventing communal discord and protecting religious harmony. So what is important? Religious harmony is important, or having the judicial review of religious historical disputes. So what is important? So it is now we have to balance as the citizens also, as the government also, as in the Supreme Court also, judiciary also, they need to think that which is more important. Communal harmony is very important for a country, or correcting the historical wrong is important for our country. So it is obviously in the hand of the government and the judiciary only. Now the case was last heard in February 26, but then it is going to be heard on April 1st, 2025. So the next news will be on April. If the government is not going to give any response in between, I hope government will give some response to this particular issue. Now, so let's come to our next news, that is related to the tourism industry status, to the tourism industry in Kerala as such as. Okay, so let's do that. Now, the Kerala government plans to give industry status. Why we are reading something that is happening in Kerala? Okay, so why it is important for us from UPSC's point of view? First of all, you can use it. There can be an MCQ on the basis of that, first of all. Okay, UPSC can ask which state recently has given industry status to tourism. Other than that, in mains examination, tourism is very much part of our syllabus. If there is a question based on tourism, then we can quote it as an example that how the Kerala government innovatively changed the character of the tourism industry. They gave the industry status to the tourism. On the basis of that, what kind of benefits they are going to get. Why they are fighting over it? They want to change. They want to change that. Okay, Neha, that's why they are fighting over it. That doesn't mean if act is there, it cannot be challenged, right? Act can be changed. There can be the amendment. So this is the process of the constitution only. But again, is it necessary or not? That is the question here. Okay. The Kerala government plans to give industry status to tourism sector, which have been a long-standing demand from the tourism industry. Tourism actually make up of not the 10% of Kerala's GDP and provides jobs for 5 lakh people directly and 20 lakh people indirectly. So tourism industry is actually very much a very important part when it comes to Kerala's GDP. The sector has struggled issues since 2018, given the COVID first COVID, then there were floods, and we had this recent 2024 the Wayanad landslide. So because of that, the tourism, the number of tourism were decreased, but the number of tourists from the foreign countries actually decreased. The tourists from the domestic, the number of domestic tourists has actually increased. Okay. Now, what are the expected benefits? So that is important for us. It is going to attract more investment, first of all, right? It can attract investment from inside our country and outside our country also. It can provide benefits such as lower power and water tariff to hospitality and businesses. Given that the prices of the hotels, the prices of the other businesses in that area will come down, and more people are going to come to the Kerala. This is how the Kerala is going to benefit from the industry status given to its tourism sector. Okay. So this was all about this news. It was not that much big. Now come to our next article. Next article is about what is the Aravali Safari Park project, okay, and why there is issues related to why environmentalists are against this particular safari project. Now, first of all, let's understand that. First of all, let's look at the Aravali. Okay, why Haryana is having this safari project? We all know that Aravali is majorly in Rajasthan, but some part of Aravali is in Haryana also. Aravali is in Delhi also, I will tell you. First of all, let's understand. Haryana's Aravali Park is proposed, okay, in a Gurgaon and a Nuh district. Gurgaon and Nuh district are in the southern Haryana. Okay, southern Haryana. Very much on the border of Delhi, right? So it aims to make a world largest safari park where there will be the animal cages, there will be hotels, restaurant, parks, and aquarium. So everything will be there, right? So you can see that this is the Aravali. Some part of Aravali starts, major Aravali is there in the Rajasthan, but some parts of it is in Gujarat, because we know that Aravalis are old fold mountains, so it is in fragmented stage. So the highest ranges of Aravali you can see in Udaipur. In Udaipur you can say highest ranges. If you will go from Delhi to Udaipur, you will see how the character of Aravali change. So here you will have the highest ranges, then the ranges will come down. So in Jaipur also you will see when the Amer fort is on the Aravali range only, but the fragments of Aravalis are there in Haryana as well, and it is there in Delhi as well. We all know that the India Gate and the President House, so it is on the Aravali range only. So it is at the end of the Aravali range. So the New Delhi basically is established on Aravali. It is an Aravali that is known as Raisena Hills. So I hope you know the location of Aravali. So Aravali is there in Haryana also. Fragments of Aravalis are there in Delhi also. Now in Gurgaon and Nu, where we have the fragments of Aravali, there the Haryana government wants to have a safari park. Now the forest department is now handling the project with an expert committee which is going to oversee it. But what are the concerns related to that? What is there? Why there is opposition there? Because Aravali hills are very much ecologically important for the area, not only in the Rajasthan but the fragmented part of it. How? First of all, because we know that Aravali makes a barrier between the Thar desert and east side. We all know that if you know the geography of Rajasthan, this is a desert area. We have Thar desert. Here we have Thar desert, and this part of Rajasthan is not a desert area. Okay, it is quite relatively greener area. Okay, so districts which are here are greener, but the districts Jaisalmer, Barmer, okay, so there are the desert part. So the basic reason why the Thar desert, in Sindh also we have desert. So Sindh area is also in Pakistan desert only. Kutch is also kind of a desert only. So here we have desert part. So Aravali was the barrier between the desert land and the green part in our country. If the Aravali would have not been there, or if Aravali will not be there in the future, then desert is going to percolate to this part of country also. So desert is going to cross the Aravali, and in this part also we will have desert. So that's why Aravali as a barrier between the desert and the green part, green geography is very, very important. First of all, preventing the desert spread from Thar desert to the eastern part of our country. First of all. Second, Aravali is very important for recharging groundwater in that area, especially the Gurgaon and Nu area. We all know about the Gurgaon is very much water scarce area, very less. The water quality in Gurgaon is not that great. If we are going to have such kind of project, there will be more tourists, there will be more infrastructure project, there will be a pressure on the land. So because of that, the groundwater can get hampered more and more, and we are going to worsen the situation of Gurgaon. Third, supporting rich biodiversity. Obviously that part is a part of forest area now. Wherever there will be forest, there will be wildlife as well. Not only wildlife, there will be flora as well, and there will be fauna as well. So this is actually going to support the rich biodiversity. So why we are converted a very good forest land into something that is very much commercial? So that is the issue. So what is more important? Forest conservation or wildlife conservation is more important, or tourism is more important for country? Now there is a debate between these two parts. 37 retired forest official actually has written to Prime Minister arguing that this project prioritizes tourism over conservation. So what is more important for us? So now this is the issue. This is something we need to think about. Again, increased tourism could disturb the aquifer and damage the fragile ecosystem of this Aravali area, right? Is there any legal protection for Aravali? That we also need to understand. Yes. First of all, we have this Punjab Land Preservation Act 1900, which restrict the deforestation. 1900 means Haryana was also part of Punjab. So this particular act is going to be applied on Haryana as well. So though the act is the colonial act, but it's still applicable. So it restricts deforestation. You cannot cut forest as such. First of all, this is can be in the favor of Aravali. Second, we have 24,000 hectare recently protected forest. So if a forest is protected, then it has the legal protection. Other than that, in 1996 TN Godvarman case protects the natural forest. Other than that, NCR Regional Plan 2021 designates Aravali as a natural conservation zone with construction limits. So we can have limit on the construction in the Aravali area. So we have so many legal provisions on basis of which we can actually stop, environmentalists can actually stop this kind of infrastructure in that area. Okay, experts suggest that declaring. So what can be the solution here? So what some experts say that instead of having a safari park, why don't we make a national park or sanctuary in this area? Or why don't we declare Aravali as a national park? In national park also there can be a safari. In Ranthambore you can do safari. In Keladev National Park also you can do that. So why not in this area of Aravali? So this is just a suggestion by the expert. Now let's come to our last news for today. Again, very interesting news. So this was actually an interview of Touhid Hossain. Who is the Touhid Hossain? He is Bangladesh Foreign Affairs Advisor. He is Bangladesh Foreign Affairs Advisor. So because he actually met as Jaishankar and he was there in Muscat, and so Hasni has taken an interview of Touhid Hossain. So we are going to understand what kind of questions was asked. Obviously for questions I am going to just tell you the question was based on this topic, then I will tell you what were the crux of the answer which he has given. By such kind of interview we can actually know the insight what the government of a particular country is thinking about India. So first of all, there was a question based on the current status of the ties between the India and Bangladesh. So what was his answer? He was saying that the ties are improving after initial tension when Bangladesh interim government took place just after the Sheikh Hasina case, right? Just after 5 August of 5 revolution you can talk about, not revolution, the whatever chaos was there. Now the meeting with Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to discuss the key issues. So he said that we have already discussed the key issues with the Foreign Affairs Minister of India first of all. The second question was related to the violence against minority in Bangladesh. So we all know that there were news on social media as well and in other newspapers also that just after the plea of the Sheikh Hasina, because Sheikh Hasina was actually considered as the protector of the Hindu minority in Bangladesh, that because of this revolution the Hindu minority in Bangladesh is not that much safe. So there were so many news. So now there was a question based on that, do you think that there is a violence against minority in your country, in Bangladesh? So he answered that Bangladesh ensures the equal right to all the communities, including Hindu first of all. Second, the government refutes claim of minority violence after August 2025, calling it the reports are baseless and it's just a media frenzy. Other than that, he said that there is a United Nations report also which confirmed that no government involvement was there when it comes to violence against minority. Even if there was some violence against minority, it was not facilitated by the government after 5th August, or you can say the new government, new interim government which is there in the Bangladesh. Now there was a questions based on the concern over former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. We all know that Mrs. Sheikh Hasina is there in India. She is there in India. The moment she fled Bangladesh, she entered India. Her plan was to go to the Europe, but she could not go for some reason. Right now she is in India. Now when the question was asked about the status of Sheikh Hasina, who is in India, he said that the Bangladesh requested India to send back the former Prime Minister Hasina for a trial. But obviously He is saying that if not extradited, Bangladesh wants India to restrict her public statement to avoid unrest. He is saying that not let her make the public statement, because those statement is finally going to reach to the Bangladesh, and the people of Bangladesh are still angry over her 15 years rule. So public anger remains due to her 15-year rule, and there are alleged misdeeds also. So he is saying that he is saying that they are more concerned about the peace in the country. If there will be no statement from her side, then it will be beneficial for the Bangladesh. So it is just a request from the Bangladesh side. Other than that, when the question was asked about the extradition process, extradition of Sheikh Hasina only, okay, we are talking about extradition of Sheikh Hasina. He said that they have sent a diplomatic note and a plan of formal extradition request under the existing treaty. The court process is ongoing, but he is saying that India's legal system is going to cause the delays, okay, because the extradition process will involve the judiciary of both sides. So Indian side, he is actually claiming that Indian side judiciary is going to have some kind of delay in that, so the process is going to get delayed. Other than that, when asked about the Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's house incidents, or you can say the incidents which happened on 5th August, when the angered public actually entered the premises of the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. So on that, he actually answered the mob attack was spontaneous and it did not have any government support. Obviously the government of the Sheikh Hasina government, why the government is going to support that issue. Other than when asked about the Adani power agreement, actually there was a agreement between Bangladesh and India, especially it was a power agreement between these two countries. Now Bangladesh is saying that we are reviewing the power deal with the Adani group. There are concerns about the high tariffs, because he is saying that we are getting actually cheaper power from some other countries also. So why we should consider India when it comes to the power agreement with India. Other than that, about the upcoming leadership meeting which is going to be there in BIMSTEC, he is saying that in BIMSTEC in April, obviously the both leaders, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Muhammad Yunus are going to meet, and there can be a further discussion on the relation between India and Bangladesh. Now the most important question which was asked was this, okay? So it was that as a veteran of foreign policy and the India-Bangladesh relation, particularly the good ties between them since the 2019, do you think India and Bangladesh can return to the same state of relationship which we enjoyed in last 15 years? For that answer, he answered that why only look for the 15 years? So it is not like that. During the time of Sheikh Hasina government, there was a good relation between India and Bangladesh. He is saying now, before that also, between 1996 to 2001 also, the trade between India and Bangladesh increased exponentially. So it was not regime based. So relation between India and Bangladesh were never regime based relationship, that when the Sheikh Hasina was in the power, then the relations were good. So he was saying that it is not like that. He also mentioned, put this line which is a very good, I don't think the relationship has to be a regime specific, which is very much true, okay. When there was a Bangladesh issue in Indian newspapers also, there was a suggestion to the Indian government that we need not to focus on the party system in other countries. We need to have alliance with the parties of the other countries. We need to have alliance with the country. So we need to have cooperation with the opposition when the other party is ruler, because the opposition party is going to be the ruling party maybe in the next 5 years. So we need to have a balanced approach. The same thing is being repeated by him, that relationship has not to be it should not be based on the regime. It should be other than that. So I think whichever government, whatever is going to be the party is in power in our two capitals, that should not affect the relation, because relations are based on the mutual interest and mutual respect, not basis on the regime. And I believe that both of our side realize what is in their interest, and we can have very good relation with India. So by looking at this particular interview, we can see that Bangladesh is not very much anti-India given this interview only, and we can have further, we can actually resolve our disputes with Bangladesh. So everyone is actually looking at the BIMSTEC summit which is going to be there in April, I guess. yes, in April, and the leader of the two countries are going to meet. Yesterday also there was an article based on the Bangladesh is very much leaning towards Pakistan, so it can also create a threat to us in the eastern border, right? So India need to play a very active role when it comes to reviving its relation with Bangladesh, because with Bangladesh historically we have a very good relation. Okay, we should not lose on that. Okay, so this was all about this interview. So this was all about today's DNA session. So I am hoping that you are going to read the newspaper also, especially if you are starting reading this newspaper. If you are reading newspaper from last 1-2 years, then you can rely on DNA sessions only. But if you have just started your preparation, my suggestion is that you do read newspaper also. Okay, so thank you so much. Have a very nice day and goodbye.